It's been nearly 2 weeks since deadly wildfires broke out in Northern California. At least 42 people have died. Fire officials hope to fully contain the most destructive fires by early next week. Thousands of homes have been destroyed. For many returning residents, there's the question of where to relocate or rebuild in one of the country's most expensive housing markets. Special correspondent Kat Wise has our report from Sonoma County.
For the second time in the past 12 days, Santa Rosa construction worker Agustin Aguilera and his family have had to move with the few possessions they still have. Several groups of friends have been sheltering the family since their small rental unit went up in flames. One of the more than 8,000 homes and structures around California's wine country destroyed in the recent wildfires. Aguilera, who has not had work or a paycheck since the fires started, says it was tough to find a place to live in his $1,500 price range before. Now he's worried he won't be able to compete in the new, more competitive rental market.
I think there's going to be a shortage in housing because, I mean, there were thousands of people that got affected by these fires. They were pretty high prices before the fires, and I think this is going to be even worse. As of right now, I don't know what am I going to do. ¿Estamos bien?
The Aguilera family's struggles to find housing in the wake of the fires is a common story now throughout the region.
Here in Santa Rosa, the housing market, like in so many other Bay Area communities, was hot before the wildfires. Rental vacancy rates hovered around 1%, and housing prices have been rising rapidly.
The wildfires destroyed a wide spectrum of the city's housing inventory. From low-income mobile home parks to middle-class ranches in Coffey Park to multi-million-dollar mansions in the Fountain Grove neighborhood. One industry that's been impacted up and down the economic ladder is healthcare. At the Santa Rosa Memorial Hospital and affiliated clinics run by St. Joseph Health, 152 staff lost their homes, including more than 50 physicians.
I've been spending as much time on housing issues for our community as I am in just dealing with kind of day-to-day hospital environment issues.
Todd Salness is president of the hospital. He and his family have been staying with his dad since they lost their Fountain Grove home. But he says he hasn't had much time to think about his own situation because he's been so focused on how to help his staff.
It's really hard to ask people to be what they need to be in a very stressful, highly driven healthcare environment and not have their family settled. So we're trying to work very hard to get people settled immediately right now.
One-bedroom apartment. It's downtown, so very close to the hospital.
Soon after the fires began, the hospital established this housing command center where teams are trying to connect displaced staff with temporary housing. And nearby medical offices are being turned into small apartments. So far, about 30 employees have been placed. But Salness says he's already thinking about their long-term needs and the communities.
There's one thing is providing this immediate short-term need, right? We found a hotel for you for tonight for the next week. But once that wears off, having the capacity to serve the community and recruit and retain our medical community, which largely was wiped out in some of these fires, is a major issue.
How the rebuilding effort will proceed is now on the minds of many.
This isn't something that can be rushed. This is going to be a long process.
Steve Krieg has been a local farmer's insurance agent for 30 years.
Because the insurance company does have money to pay that.
More than 100 of his clients have lost homes. He believes most homeowners in the region had fire insurance, although policies and coverage varied. But the costs of rebuilding for homeowners and insurance companies are a big unknown at this point.
The city and county are already putting out guidelines of what they're going to do. We're hearing that they are going to waive fees for permits, but we're also finding that any rebuild is going to have to be to current code. So that means a lot of homes are going to have a lot of changes. And we don't know if the policies are going to have enough coverage to cover that. Are building costs going to skyrocket because of a shortage of materials? We don't know. From what we heard, a lot of our materials just went to Houston to take care of the issue that they just had with their weather calamity. We need those materials back now. I've also heard that mills are running around the clock up north of us, so they're trying to get out as much lumber as they can. Is it going to be enough? We don't know because we've never had this many homes at one time.
Some in the community are hoping the city will use the rebuilding process to address some long-standing housing issues.
The people that are most likely to get pushed out are low-income people of color.
Omar Medina is with the North Bay Organizing Project, a housing and community advocacy nonprofit.
I think that the most critical thing that our community and our elected officials can do is really think about not only increasing the housing stock, but making sure that there's affordable housing and a significant amount of it.
For construction worker Agustin Aguilera, the promise of more work in the coming months is not easing his housing concerns.
I'm afraid that the wages are not going to go as high as the expenses or the living in the area. Unfortunately, if we cannot find an affordable place to live, we're probably going to have to relocate. I'm sad because I don't want to move from here. I don't want to relocate.
So far, more than 10,000 households impacted by the fires have registered with FEMA, and local officials are now considering a range of options for increasing short-term housing and expediting the rebuilding process. But it is expected to be years, not months, before the community recovers. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Kat Wise in Santa Rosa, California.